2 years. 2 whole years passed before my old manager tried to destroy my career. And here's the thing, he did it silently, behind closed doors, with a smile on his face and absolutely no idea that it would all blow up in his. I didn't yell, I didn't threaten, I didn't send a single angry email. I just won. And then I sat back and watched him realize it. If you've ever had someone underestimate you, overlook you, or quietly work against you while pretending to be on your side, this one's for you. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and settle in, because this story is proof that the best revenge isn't loud. Sometimes it doesn't make a sound at all. Rob was the kind of manager who wore confidence like a tailored suit, sharp on the outside, completely hollow underneath. He had this talent, this almost artistic ability, to walk into a room after his team had spent weeks grinding on a project and within 30 seconds make everyone in the room believe he had done the heavy lifting. He'd lean back in his chair, arms crossed, and summarize the work with such casual authority that if you hadn't been the one pulling late nights to build it, you might actually believe him. I worked under Rob for about 18 months. Most of that time, I kept my head down. I learned early that people like Rob operate on a kind of unspoken social contract. You do the work, he gets the credit, and in exchange, you don't get thrown under the bus. It wasn't noble, but it was functional. Until the day I decided I was done with it. It was a Tuesday. I remember that specifically because I'd been in back-to-back meetings since 8 in the morning, and by the time our team review rolled around at 3, I was running on coffee and frustration. Rob stood at the head of the conference table, clicker in hand, walking our director through a market analysis I had spent 3 weeks building from scratch, slide after slide, my data, my framework, my conclusions. And not once did my name come up. I felt something shift in my chest. Not hot anger, more like a cold, quiet clarity. The kind you feel right before you make a decision you know you're going to have to live with. I waited until he finished. Then, calmly, I said, I just want to make sure the team gets credit where it's due. A lot of this analysis came out of the work I did over the last few weeks, along with some great input from Jamie. I'm really proud of how it came together. I smiled when I said it. My voice was steady. It wasn't an accusation, it was a correction. Public, professional, and completely unarguable. Rob smiled back. That tight, practiced smile that people wear when they're screaming on the inside. Absolutely, he said. Great work from the whole team. The meeting moved on. I went back to my desk, and I genuinely thought that was the end of it. 4 months later, I accepted an offer elsewhere. Better title, better pay, a team that actually energized me. The goodbye was all handshakes and, "You'll do great things." Rob said it himself, standing near the elevator on my last day. And I believed him. Or maybe I just wanted to. 2 years went by. I built something real at my new company, grew into the role, got confident. And then I saw it, a senior position opening at a firm I had admired for a long time, the kind of company that doesn't post jobs often, and when they do, people notice. I applied, tailored my resume, rewrote my cover letter 4 times, got a call, then a second round, then a third. 3 interviews deep, and I could feel it, that rare electric sensation of being exactly where you're supposed to be. The hiring manager, I'll call her Dana, was sharp, direct, and genuinely engaged. We talked about vision, about systems, about how I think. It felt less like an evaluation and more like a conversation between 2 people figuring out how to work together. And then my phone rang. It was Dana, not an email, a call. That alone made my stomach drop slightly. I want to be transparent with you, she said. We received an unsolicited reference, someone who identified himself as a former manager, and the feedback he shared was inconsistent with everything we've seen from you across 3 rounds. I wanted to give you the opportunity to respond before we made any decisions. The name she gave me didn't surprise me. Of course it was Rob. Of course. I sat with it for exactly 2 seconds. Then I took a slow breath and I spoke. I appreciate you telling me directly, I said. I can only think of one instance where Rob and I had any friction, and I'd rather be transparent about it than have it hang in the air. In a team meeting, I made sure a project I'd led was attributed correctly, publicly, professionally. I think that stuck with him. But if it would help, I can give you 3 names from that same team, people who were in the room for that work every day. Dana was quiet for a moment. Then, that would actually be really helpful. I gave her the names. 2 of them she spoke to. Both of them apparently had a very clear memory of the project and of me. 2 weeks later, Dana called again. We'd like to offer you the role. I remember sitting in my car in a parking garage when I got that call, and I didn't punch the air or shout. I just closed my eyes for a second and exhaled. This long, slow release, like something I'd been holding without realizing it, finally let go. It was the specific relief of being seen, of having the truth do what it's supposed to do. I accepted the offer, set a start date, and then, like you do, I announced it on LinkedIn. New chapter, new title, grateful for the journey, all that, standard stuff. And then, 4 days later, I got a notification. Rob had viewed my profile. Not liked the post, not sent a congratulations, just viewed the profile, silently. The LinkedIn equivalent of pressing your face against a window. I stared at that notification for a long moment. I thought about what he must have felt, sitting wherever he was, seeing my name, my new title, at the company he'd tried to close the door on. Knowing that his little phone call, that moment he probably thought was his power play, his one chance to settle an old score, hadn't just failed, it had backfired, because it sent Dana straight to the people who knew me best. I didn't message him, I didn't reply, I didn't even screenshot it for the group chat. I just let him sit with it. Because some moments don't need a response, they just need to be felt. Here's what I learned. The people who try to quietly sabotage you almost always underestimate one thing: the relationships you've built along the way. Rob thought he was making one phone call. What he didn't know is that I'd spent years building a reputation that could speak for itself, louder and with far more credibility than he ever could. Integrity is a long game, and it almost always wins. If this story hit home, smash that like button. It genuinely helps more than you know. And drop a comment below. Have you ever had someone try to quietly work against you? What happened? How did it end? I read every single one. And if you're new here and you want more stories just like this one, the kind where patience beats pettiness every single time, subscribe. We've got plenty more where that came from. See you in the next one.